be yourself and make sure that you love being yourself. It's going to be roadblocks, it's going to be tribulations, but always remember this is a life experience. Accept the experience, appreciate the experience, and learn how to move on from things that don't serve you well, you know, and find your journey, respect your journey, and love it.
Top of the do say people, it's your boy Double O, and I am back with another one. And boy, my God, boy, when they say they smile in your face all the time, they want to take your place, backstab us, back motherfucking stab us, bro. I tell you, man, we about to get into it, man. It's a wild week. It's a wild week, a wild way to start the weekend, I'd say. I'm sitting here, man. Let me go ahead and share this out, man. Make sure y'all support the movie. While I'm doing this, y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. I'm gonna give you some time to do that. Man, this got to be documented, boy. I swear this got to be documented. Yeah, let me just go ahead and send that out to the people. Oh, man. I'm like, bro, it was literally less than 24 hours, gang. Y'all couldn't even let a nigga glorify and bask in the whole situation with Blue Point. Now y'all done turned around and set the scene up, man. Said laughing at the cure. What's good, gang? What's going on? You said, oh, dang, you sit alone. Hold on. Try to put it on the screen with a quick pause. No diddy. Put it right there. Bow. You said, okay, Bello, this is what we needed, along with the behind the scene drama from a different point of view. Shout out to your boy. Keep going. Appreciate that. Keep it up, man. I appreciate it. I'm trying to keep it moving, get these perspectives out, man. But I need the support, bro. I'm a one-man army over here right now. I had to do all the video, the editing, then I'm trying to do some other stuff with animation and coding. So, bro, man, I'm trying to keep my mind going on things and trying to stay focused, stuff like that. But also, while you at it, man, go ahead and subscribe if you're new. You know what I'm saying? You know I got to put that out there. I'm going to give y'all some time to do that as well while I go ahead and post this out that I'm live. It's crazy, man, because I'm like, dude, we were just, you know what I'm saying, dancing on the grave of Blue Point and trying to figure out, you know, what was the reason for it, this great company, and they should go, and I was just saying, yo, they should go out and get these jokers because they very talented in X, Y, and Z, and then less than 24 hours, Microsoft, boy, you can't, they would never let Sony bask in their failures. I don't know what's going on with these fools, bro. I'm like, dude, I mean, just set the whole house ablaze. So, hold on. Is my audio good? All right, cool. Okay. You said, who is this on the screen? LOL. Hey, man, that's my new avatar. That's CJ, bro. That's CJ. I'll put that on what's good post. I know we going live later on, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, because you got some, you know, some intertwining stuff. But I'm just finna, you know, give my little 2 cents of the Judas of the group, because I think something else is going on more than what I thought at first. Oh, and that's what's up. They just did an update on eCam that allowed me to see the comments on X. I appreciate that post. Now I can see everything now. I couldn't see the comments from X. I can only see YouTube, but now I can see both. But, all right, so if you didn't know, been under a rock, whatever the case may be, since yesterday, Friday, you know, morning, early, it has been straight pandemonium. The house is ablaze, and Microsoft announced that Phil Spencer, on top of that, Sarah Barnes was both retiring and resigning, you know. And Phil Spencer's the one retiring. Resigning will be Sarah Bond. And then they came out with the replacement. This lady, only AI driven. She, you know, from my research, she's only done AI related things from Meta to Home Depot to Instacart, all related with AI. and Matt Booty was getting a promotion. And at first, I was under the reading their farewell letters and stuff like that and things of that nature. I was under the impression like, okay, maybe this isn't so bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just be honest. I'm like, maybe this isn't so bad. I went on Z show, of course, because I ain't ducking no smoke. I said what I said. I'm going to stand on what I said, regardless if it's right or wrong. You going to get what it is. He said, who the hell is this on the screen? I tell you, CJ, gang. So I was just like, I'm going to rap. Let me do my due diligence to figure out what's going on, try to get some information, hit up posts, and try to figure out pick the pieces up. And then I was just like, it just don't sit well with me, because I was talking to Rick, and I was like, Ricky Brown, and I'm like, this don't sit well. This doesn't make any sense to me because of various little things that's happening. And then I was trying to pick up the pieces, like, and pretty much this is me just coming out with what I think that happened. It's not fully like set in stone. I really didn't get a lot of information from anybody, because like I said, Post went away for the state of gaming with Noah and us, and then everybody else is just running around with it's burning of the tiki torches, they gone, blah blah blah, and all this other crazy stuff. But I was like, it just didn't sit well with me to just say, like, how did he just up and go? And then on top of that, the main thing was Sarah Bond. She was the main source and key, and that she just upped and resigned just out the blue. I know she had a job at Tyson's Food, being the CEO there, but being on the board. But again, that doesn't matter, because they have multiple jobs at multiple companies. They do various things. Just because you at one area doesn't mean you're not working in multiple areas. So I'm like, why? Because the rollout was going well. And I'm going to show that the rollout was going well because of my little research that I was going on. But then I picked up and I found out what it is. And again, this is all speculation. I got my aluminum foil hat on. You know how Melo do. But later we'll try to figure it out, the case may be. So I'm gonna start off with this, right? I'm gonna go to the financial, because you always gotta follow the money. That's the key thing of everything. When I was talking to Rick, that what led me down this rabbit hole of where I'm at and what my thought process is about this situation. Because again, when news come, the worst thing that you can do is be emotional. You be overzealous, and you start throwing out stuff, trying to speculate and bounce off of other people's opinion when they don't know a hill of beans about what the heck they talking about at all. Most of the people that y'all talking to can barely hold a job for 3 to 5 years, let alone have the nerves to critique and have an opinion about somebody that's been at a location for over 20-something years, 30-something years. You know what I'm saying? This man, Phil Spencer, literally carried Microsoft. If it wasn't for Phil Spencer, to this day, we would not have had Xbox past the Xbox One era, the 360. Once the 360 was over with, it would have been a done deal. And that was the key point of me thinking how I'm thinking right now. Because the man took a so-called failing product that did not have any direction whatsoever, and he stepped back from the playing field and started dissecting things and got it to the point of where they at now, even to the point where they could even do the deal with ABK and get Activision and all of the games that they got under that umbrella. So I'm like, his heart is in gaming. No one can question that whatsoever. His passion for gaming is definitely there. He's outlast even his competitors, CEOs and presidents at this point in time. I think was the last man standing. The man was literally at Microsoft since 1988. I was 4 years old when this man was at one particular job, and of course, he grown in the ranks. So his passion is there. And with Sarah Bond, okay, everybody gave her slack about her, so-called DEI hire. What does she know about gaming? All of this extra goofy mess that didn't really pertain to anything outside of she was very good at marketing, very well so that she helped Microsoft, T-Mobile, and other companies with their promotion to change the views and the look of what T-Mobile was back in the days when T-Mobile was looking like crap. Excuse me. She helped with that Sprint deal that helped merge T-Mobile with Sprint and all type of stuff. So she has a talent. And with that talent, you can always shape and mold and polish that to make it a diamond. And that's what I think happened with Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond. Phil had the knowledge. Phil had the know-how. Phil knew how to direct and navigate gaming like no other business. He was the Yoda of video gaming, literally. And now you have your apprentice under your wing, and you're teaching her the ropes, i.e. she was the forefront of Play Anywhere, and he was the gear behind Game Pass. So, again, thinking about this stuff, I see where her loyalty is. Something happened, don't know what happened, but I'm going to speculate what happened. And due to Sarah Bond's loyalty to Phil Spencer, I think she stepped down. That's what I think will happen. And again, if that's the case, a queen being a queen and supporting who she gonna ride with, who she gonna ride with. She gonna ride with the person that taught her the ropes, and it's showing. So, all right. Okay, so we went down the rabbit hole of financial reports, right? That's what we went down when I talked to Ricky Brown, because Ricky Brown threw it to me, and he was like, the shares, he said, because he has a massive amount of shares. I don't want to share his business, but he was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I took a massive hit, and, Monday, they did this over the weekend, so we're not going to see the results of Phil and Sarah Bond leaving until Monday when it comes to the stock market. But then I started looking at the quarterly earnings and stuff like that, and it showed a massive dip at the beginning of the year, going into like December. And it caught my attention. Why? Because Microsoft, this is around the time when DeepSync, Gemini, all of those AI tools was taking a hit. NVIDIA, everybody was taking a hit due to China and their fast progression in AI that made U.S. AI look obsolete, i.e. Google, ChatGPT, etc. If you don't know, Microsoft is invested heavily into AI. And I think that was the catalyst of what's happening right now, because it was a massive gamble that lost billions. I'm talking about a nice penny in the stock market and the shareholders, which caused this domino effect. And then before y'all sit here and say, oh, Melo, you trying to pass blame to someone else, I'm going to show you why I say what I said. So, let me, what screen I want to go to first? Let me see here. We doing this on the cuff, so. Oh, wrong one. Well, never mind. The Judas is this nigga. The corporate is this nigga. Long story short, the corporate is this nigga. And I'm going to tell you multiple ways of who it is. What's good? What's good, King Reaper? What's good, man? I'm going to tell you why. This fool here, let me put it down here. Yeah, I think it'd be better down this way. Okay. Right there. All right, this fool here, and the reason why I say this is because of what he did with my favorite product that I always said that they never should have stopped doing or discontinued, and he admitted himself that he was wrong in it, and it was the Windows Phone. When they had that device that was able to dock and become a PC, run Office, max space, all that stuff. It was a cell phone, but it was a goddamn workstation all rolled into one said device, a palm of your hand. And the only catalyst and only issue with that device was the Windows store wasn't fully developed and optimized for that said phone yet, because it didn't have its full identity yet. It was just literally in the working stages, but it was a wonderful phone. Like, I'm talking about the stuff that you can do with it was phenomenal. This nigga right here decided to can the whole project before it even had a chance to get legs. And later on, after, you know, everything started progressing and evolving and stuff like that, he finally came out and said, yo, I wish I would have found the video, but this is all on the cuff right now. But I wish he would have found the video, and he said, yo, he pretty much pulled back and said, yo, my bad on pulling the plug on the Microsoft Windows phone, because he wished he would have continued to expand on it to possibly get it to where it could be. And then mainly because of how the Windows Store was, a lot of apps wasn't trying to develop for it, and they never gave it a chance. But if they would have allowed it to, you would have had this mobile deal with ABK, which would have brought that into the store, as well as the ChatGTP situation, because they end up buying GitHub in the future and a couple of other companies that literally are the forefront for AI in America, you know, Copilot, etc. Even though people have their opinion about it, they was literally in the forefront when it comes to the US. The Azure servers, they was the forefront of all of that. And they could have easily helped with the cell phone, but he canceled it. He said, my bad, I effed up. But his gamble on AI is what caused Phil Spencer and Sarah Barnes to step down. My opinion, what I think. This is the rabbit hole I went down. So, let me see. Let me go to the B-roll real quick. All right. So Microsoft, remember that time where Microsoft Gaming actually surpassed Windows division in revenue? This is after the deal, because once again, if y'all know business, if you're set in business, if you understand how business, this is the core structure of business when it comes to investing or buying a company or something like that, or just creating a business in general from scratch. This is literally rock solid, black and white. You can ask anybody. When you do that or you create a business, you have to wait 5 to 10 business years to see a form of return or a form of profit, depending on your business. Yes, are there chances that or percentages where companies out the gate make a massive profit? Absolutely. But for the regular standards, especially when it comes to the stock market and things of that nature, it's 5 to 10 years. You're lucky to get to 10, but if if the standard is 5. And if they don't see growth, that's when they start pulling people, snatching stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So when you see on the screen, Microsoft division officially surpassed Windows division in revenue for the first time, largely driven by the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Gaming revenue hit $7.1 billion, exceeding Windows revenue of $5.3, making its Microsoft's third largest business. This was after the ABK deal. Remind you, the ABK deal didn't close out it's been 2 years. So it didn't really close out until 2003, 2004 of October, I believe. I'm sure it was October, but once all the paperwork and ink and all that stuff was signed, sealed, and delivered, it's only been 2 years. It has not reached that 5-year peak. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? But within that 5-year peak, remind you, I think this report was 2024, 2025. So that's only that 2 to 3 years, roughly 2. and this already had surpassed Windows at that point. A lot of people didn't pay attention to that, and we talked about it on a couple shows and all that stuff. Like, oh, it's a nothing burger, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But you have to think they just spent over $70-some billion, and they was able to right at that point within that 2-year span exceed Microsoft Windows PC. So, it's locked. Oh man. Oh shoot, they won't let me unlock it. One moment. So I'm like, okay. Then we had this. Yeah, here it go right here. Microsoft Gaming Division achieved record revenue of $23.455 billion in financial year of 2025, ending June 30th of 2025. Driven by strong content service and service growth, Xbox Game Pass and Activision. However, the division faced declined hardware sales with quarter four of fall of 2025. Console revenue dropped 22% and continued to press on in early 2026. Now, the slow people in the room at Broadband Bullies, like I said again, Slow Bucks and etc. And J-Dub. I think J-Dub just be capping because the man, come on, the man ain't no money. If you know J-Dub, you know J-Dub. I don't got to tell you about his backstory. But the misfits and the side hustles and the drug dealers and users of the community over there, they try to tell you about business and don't know shit about business. Because this is the report from 2025. And I told them that y'all are tripping. You can't sit here and tell me one quarter, which was the fall 2026, caused this much damage in Microsoft. And they like, oh no, you got to count in that they brought in this amount, but it was only a 1% growth, and it was a consistent 1% growth, and that $70 billion they lost, they didn't make a turn of profit, and they didn't do. It's all lies. That's not how business work. Yes, you have a quarter where it was nothing but bad news for Microsoft going into 2026. And that was the increase of prices Game Pass, which people, threw a fit about. But when you look, I think they said they lost about 1 million something subscribers. It didn't even touch 5 or 6. It was like 1 out of that 30 something million or whatever the case may be. Okay, it's still not a good look. I'm not giving it no support. A loss is a loss, but it wasn't as massive. Like some fools was talking about, it's gonna be half for the people leaving. Like, you slowed in the mug. No, most people understand that majority of their ecosystem and their game library comes from Game Pass, and they see the value in it. So yes, even though the price hike hurt, they did end up fixing the price hike by saying, hey, if you've already paying 20, you're grandfathered in, but the rest of you cats, new people, is going to be 30 or whatever the case may be. Okay, cool. They tried to damage control it. And then also, they've been telling you from jump, hey, the console sales are done. They finito. They not going anywhere. I hate to tell y'all, I wish we could do more, but we just being straight up with ourselves. Hold on real quick. That thing came out small. He said it didn't cause the damage, but Microsoft is greedy, bro. Look at what happened to Windows Phone. They were third place and felt like they were gaming on Androids or iOS. Then they I already talked about it. I talked about Satya Nadala's bad decision on pulling the Windows Phone. That's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to that aspect. Like, they didn't want to compete, or he didn't want to allow it time to grow, and he just canned it when he should have let it continue to improve on it. But he already came out and said he apologized for it. But back to this. So, like I said, with all them quarters in 2025, they had 3 quarters of straight bangers. They was growing in games and services, once again, where Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond's main focus were, which they told you guys. And then lastly, that last quarter was where I think the turmoil happened. Whereas the price hike with Game Pass, the release, what's that mess? The hardware sales declining at the 22% drop, even though they told you it was going to be a decline. It was declining the whole entire year, and then rolling into the new year. You said, so do you think this is the same concept? Yeah. I'm gonna tell you why though, because I think what happened in the fall quarter that caused all this massive drop in issues was this fella. I mistakenly showed y'all already, but it was this nigga. It was the Judas. This nigga right here. His gamble on AI, I think he was banking so heavily on AI with the investors, and he was selling the pitch on AI so bad that they was willing to invest heavily, because remember, they started getting raises and stuff after the whole ABK deal. You know, people start getting promotions and getting massive bags of money and all this stuff, and then you start seeing NVIDIA and Sachi and them all cool and kumbayaing with each other. They kicking it. They out here, throwing Mark Zuckerberg. They out here twerking in the streets and everything. They doing the whole shebang, the whole nine. It was this nigga. With that said money, they did all of that daggone investing and went crazy. He gambled on AI, and then when DeepSync came out and it exposed Silicon Valley, the massive group of Silicon Valley, Microsoft took the brunt of that hit just as well as everybody else because of their bank on AI. DeepSync showed you, nigga, I can give you a Raspberry Pi and a couple of old NVIDIA cards that's less than $20. It was like, I say less than $200 a pop, and we can run ChatGPT and run circles around it. I'm talking about speeds not even known to seen the man. You seen what Gemini just did when they pulled out the daggone Grand Theft Auto game, and they was able to pull out a whole version of it with less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes programming. This nigga is the cause of it. He went in there banking on something, and he lost that company billions of dollars. I'm talking about triple digit billions in AI. And that was his hire of that daggone lady is what led me down that rabbit hole because of her daggone resume. Her being an AI driven, he being a crackhead for AI, and then all of a sudden the downfall of AI now with the cryptocurrency that went on, the news that went out about crypto and who was linked to it, the situation with AI and what was called Seed Dance coming out, and it's tearing up the streets with AI. And what did they recently just announce with Microsoft? That they was going back to the drawing board with Copilot, and they was pulling back. This nigga affected everything. This nigga is the reason why Phil Spencer stepped down, because I think after, and let's get it clear. Phil was already talking about stepping down. They got multiple videos of people that interviewed him, and they gave him that question, and he answered it about, eventually I'm gonna step down. Woo. I didn't put 30 years in Microsoft. I didn't put 20 in gaming and another 10 in just Microsoft as a whole. I'm 30 years in the game. I done made my money. I have my future apprentice right now. I'm giving her the game in the sauce. She's soaking everything in, Paul. She's being a great apprentice. She got the play anywhere model going. We've done so good. This nigga right here tried to throw us out the dry with AI, with the 4 games. This was the problem, and it backfired. I think, remember when they was talking about doing the 4 games? We like, yo, we testing something out. We're going to throw out 4 games, and we're putting it on a competitor platform. And we all know the 4 games. Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment, and Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was the sleeper drop from Tango Games, and it did very well. You know what I'm saying? Sea of Thieves was doing its own thing on Xbox. It had been polished and approved. By the time it released on PlayStation, we was on season 14, 15. The game had went crazy. Like the game was already, it started off terrible, but we in season 12, 13, or 14, one of them damn numbers. And the game was well off in the millions of users, monthly active users and shit. It was going crazy. Grounded was already doing its numbers, regardless of how people was talking down on it. The gamers spoke, and that game was fire on Xbox. Pentiment was terrible, but due to the name and the company that it was coming from under, we let it rock. You know what I'm saying? The people went and got it, whatever the case may be, but let's just be frank. Pentiment wasn't for everybody. Everybody cup of tea. Niggas was jealous of Hi-Fi Rush. Stealth dropped Hi-Fi Rush. Game was massively successful on the console. People loved it. They played it, praised it. We saw the video clips of niggas on YouTube crying, about to have a hissy fit because it wasn't on PlayStation. He said, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, facts. So, they came out with that showcase. And these are the numbers or the results from what was going on. And again, these 4 games, let's just be frank. Sea of Thieves been out for a minute. Grounded was out for a minute. Pentiment out for a minute. And Hi-Fi Rush was the talk of the town, even though Tango Works really wasn't too much of nothing. Like, let's be honest. Tango Games only had like maybe 2 games. That was Evil Within and then Hi-Fi Rush. The other games that they did was terrible. Evil Within was on a slight decline by the time Microsoft even picked up Tango Games. So y'all doing this comparison of Blue Point to Tango Games is not even close. Blue Point out the gate was killing it with they remasters, remakes. Everybody gave them praises. They resume was damn near flawless. Tango Games, niggas didn't even know about that shit outside of Evil Within and Hi-Fi Rush. The rest of them IPs that they did was And Microsoft did what they did. They got what they wanted, which I think they got pulled Evil Within. They still got relations with Tango Games, and they let the rest of that IP go to whoever bought them. Like, it is what it is. But Blue Point was one of them ones. Don't get it twisted. So, remind you, these games is all old outside of Hi-Fi Rush. The experiment was taking some misfit trash titles that they sold a pitch to Satya Nadella, in my opinion, because he was on this, we need more money, we need cash, we need money. And they was like, yo, okay, the only way in the ABK deal, you remember Jim Ryan shut down Game Pass going on PlayStation. And that was like a stab in the side to Microsoft because they was wanted to push Game Pass on PlayStation. And that didn't happen. So the pivoting point, because they wanted to get this money and this cash revenue pushing in, let's experiment. Satya Nadella said, yo, we need to see if we can bring some exclusives over to our competitors. I think. This is my speculation. I think that Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond was on some old, we got to play this by a case-by-case situation. We can't go all in this deal. Let's just pull 4 titles that's relatively okay, and let's see what the end results are. Because at that time, when you look at the news and when you look at the so-called masses with social media, Xbox games were trash. Y'all heard the Sea of Piss. The Kraken was lacking from Z. Honey, I Shrunk the Fuck niggas for Grounded. Pentiment was a reading simulator. Most of you niggas are left behind kids, program kids. Y'all definitely wasn't reading. And then Hi-Fi Rush was like, yeah, we won it. That was the only game that they wanted. So when you look at the sale numbers, this is what was the end result of that. And again, we dusting off old games. This ain't like we had to put a lot of R&D into this or nothing. We probably set a little small team down, told them to optimize this for PlayStation, do X, Y, Z with the configurations, and get it out the door. That's it. That's all. It was nothing to cry home to the bank about. This ain't Sony. They didn't spend crazy amount of money to do this. And then the end results were crazy. Like it exceeded expectations. I believe the only one that didn't was Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was the only one that did not exceed expectation because they felt like due to that IP being so current, that it would have been a massive success due to how social media reacted towards Hi-Fi Rush announcement. Niggas was making compilation videos of PlayStation niggas being sad and blue in the face because they wasn't going to get the chance to play that game. And the Xbox guys was like, yo, this is some new stuff. The music, the combat, the traversing feels like Sunset Overdrive. Like we was having a good old time with this game. So they thought that this was going to be a massive success, but it wasn't. It only did 137,000 copies. Even though that's a good number, it wasn't good in the sense of the release of that game. But the rest of them blew it out of water because we're talking about titles that was over 2 years old at that time. That's on that platform. Little to no R&D for these games, and they were selling crazy. You see Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves did over 1 million. Grounded. 430 some copies. Again, you got to think about the climate, but it went on. It did 4.1 million on Steam. You got to understand the negativity that was behind these IPs, and then when they go over to the competitors, they charted. That's why I kept saying what I was saying to all the slow niggas in the room. There's a difference. Even when you look at Gears of War Reloaded. Gears of War Reloaded is damn near 2009, 2000. That game old as shit. The original Gears was back in like 2009. We talking well over 15 years. You polished that thing up, and it wasn't even fully polished because people said that was one of their kicks towards the game. Like, oh, it's here, we're playing it, but it's not even fully polished. And that Joker sold over 250,000 copies off of one old ass game. What do you think Halo's about to do? That game 2001 or some shit. So they see the money. The money was coming in. Sachi Nadala see the money coming in, and they got jittery. They got jittery, especially Sachi Nadala. He said, let's send more. And this was what led us to this. And then on top of that, you had the AI situation being so successful. The moment AI killed everything, that's when Sachi Nadala was like, oh, it's y'all fault. Y'all got to go. Verge, what's good, gang? What's good? So, another thing that I was looking at, this was the cause and effect of it. But another thing I was looking at was I was just praising Matt Booty. I'm like, yo, this nigga, he the truth. When I heard him in that email and they was talking about, squashing PlayStation because they had him on the ropes. And I'm like, oh yeah, he talking about let's get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? He was on some Nino Brown stuff. No, yo, we got him on the ropes. Let's take him out. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, yo, we got Call of Duty, we got Candy Crush, all these games. This library about to go crazy. Make them all exclusive, put them on Game Pass. and let Sony fall where they may. And Phil Spencer and them was like, they took the higher ground, and it actually turned out better in their favor, in my opinion, because once again, you see what's going on with the Netflix deal right now, where Netflix was trying to buy what is that company? Is it WB? I think it was WB. I don't know. They're trying to buy somebody. And the Orange Man, the president right now, just already came out like, yo, it smells like a monopoly. And now Paramount has a chance to buy the said company. There's a lot going on. But it looked like it's going to get shot down that Netflix can't buy this company because they talking about monopoly. And with movie rights and stuff like that. Go watch The Watchtower with Ricky Brown. Shout out to him. They break it down in that scenario, or going to also. So, but look at what they taking that sentiment based off of what Microsoft done. But Microsoft was different. Was they're playing kumbaya with everybody. No, we're not going to take Call of Duty from you. You seen what happened in the ABK deal. We're not going to take it away from you. Even though Matt Booty was on some, let's crush him, let's get him up out of here. They was like, no, we can't lose the money on a failed attempt. We might as well play ball and get what we really want, which is the IPs. The main goal was the IPs. So, and you seen what Jim Ryan, shout out to Jim Ryan, you seen what he did. The man went to the president of the United States at that point in time, Zombie Joe, and you had the president come out talking about no to the deal. You know what I'm saying? The world paid massive attention to this at that point in time. So they bucked and folded, and they came out with the best deal that was possible. Also, Jim Ryan didn't want Game Pass on PlayStation. And another quote from him from that daggone deal: "If we lose Call of Duty, we lose everything. Because the amount of money that we receive from Call of Duty funds our exclusives. They was using that money to fund their exclusives. I don't care what nobody says about the decline of Call of Duty. It was on the decline. It was making hella bread to a point where Jim Ryan himself in court can say that, yo, this Joker helped us keep the lights on top of, Spider-Man and stuff like that. So I was looking like, okay, Sarah Bond and Phil is gone. Sarah resigned because of her loyalty to Phil. Phil was already in the situation of stepping down anyway because, the whole perspective was passing the mantle down to Sarah Bond with the whole new console that's about to roll out. You know what I'm saying? We saw it on the last showcase, not this one, but the one prior, where Phil Spencer came out when they did the announcement of the Rogue Ally. He gave that sentiment of him stepping down, of fading to black, and allowing Sarah Bond to be the forefront of Microsoft now. So I said, where the hell is Matt Booty at? This nigga here, outside of that email, his gaming credentials is questionable. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He ended up getting a promotion after them two stepped down. And now he's the one that's covering the 40 games, the 40 game studios. And under my impression, when I first heard it, I'm like, oh, we in good hands like Allstate. You know what I'm saying? We straight. We gonna be decent. She gonna cover whatever they gotta do with AI and doing co-pilot and all that extra goofy stuff with the Azure servers and everything else. She's gonna cover that part of it. And then Matt Booty is going to be the one that usher in with the gaming. And I'm like, we got a chance. Because how they're talking, yo, we going back to the basics. We hear what y'all talking about, and we finna pivot. But I don't think the pivot that they're about to do is what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like this because of, again, what they were saying. We know about exclusives, da-da-da-da-da. Okay. The Xbox Direct that just happened this year, the beginning of the year. They really didn't even promote or push anything. We only seen, Fable. They announced that going over to PlayStation. We saw Forza Horizon 5. They announced that, or 6. One of them were jokers. It was 6. Going to PlayStation, then the other 2 titles was whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, this is the Xbox Direct. And they haven't showed anything related to Gears. They haven't showed anything related to other titles outside of them 4 that they announced. And of course, I know they're going to be doing other showcases, but it just seemed kind of odd. You know what I'm saying? It was a simple show, nothing too crazy, and they was out the door. So I'm like, what if Matt Booty, because again, he was the one that was like, yo, let's put the foot on these jokers' necks. Okay, cool. What if the rollout was this? Everybody is rumored and thinking that Starfield's supposed to be coming to PlayStation. It ain't been announced, so you don't know. Y'all been waiting for years for that. Ain't happened. Gears E-Day, everybody is screaming, oh, it's coming to PlayStation. They haven't announced anything whatsoever about that. You know what I'm saying? That's all speculated and speculatory. What if they was going to go back to the drawing board? State of Decay 3 also. You know what I'm saying? We saw the announcement, nothing real news related towards it. So it was like, okay, maybe they about to pull back and go back to the exclusive route with certain games, and other games will be third party, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking at first. And I don't think Matt Booty has the even though Phil Spencer hired this dude and put him in position, why didn't they put him as the give him Sarah Bond's position the moment Phil Spencer left? Or was transitioning into his retirement before he announced it? Why didn't they pick Matt Booty? Because Matt Booty was hired on the field. He's been there longer than Sarah Bond. What's going on there? And I think they had the odds of difference. You know what I'm saying? I think that their vision collided with each other. You got one guy that's passionate about gaming, that appreciate what gaming has to offer as a whole, and then you have Matt Booty on the end that's just corporate. And then the moment that these two step down, he still ain't get a CEO role. They just allowed some AI lady out the blue that's only been there for like 2 years to step in. Is Satya Nadella, you know what I'm saying, picking sides, picking his own people over what's right? I don't know. But something's up with that part of that situation, because I would think you would go with the person that has the latter experience with gaming and Microsoft gaming, such as Matt Booty. If them two was going to be stepping down, he should have been the next one up. Instead of that, you take a 2-year worker that's only been there for 2 years, but even though she's heavily focused on AI like you put it in. AI is finna be the downfall of Microsoft gaming as we know it. I've been saying that from jump, since they tried to implement Copilot into gaming, and I said I don't like it. Do I like AI when it comes to development of gaming? Absolutely. But when it comes down to the core aspect of the consumer and AI being able to help you solve crimes in video game and all that, that's going to be the downfall of gaming as we know it. Satya Nadella, his gambling habits, that man coke habits is what's finna kill Microsoft, because he's too hella focused on AI. He sniffed the bag. He's gone. He's too far gone to stay. You messed up with Microsoft Windows Phone, and it's promising in its future what it could have been for Microsoft. And now you decided you put all your eggs in one basket with AI, and that got destroyed from the Chinese. And now your damage towards AI, or your fixation towards AI, is what's killing Microsoft gaming. The weirdos that was asking for this, for Phil Spencer to step down, and he don't know anything about gaming, he out of touch, all you weirdos, congratulations. You got what you wanted. But the cause effect of this and the ramification of Phil Spencer leaving is going to be far greater than what a lot of us think. I'm just going to be honest with you right now. Again, I was holding on, and I thought it was a possible opportunity there, but it ain't. Like I said before, only thing I'm banking on and I'm hoping on, and I will take my L if it does not happen, because, you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. I ain't tucking my tail for nobody. If that next Xbox console does not roll out, I will take my L. But I'm still optimistic about it. I still think it's going to happen until further notice. That's where I stand. I want to say in closing, let me know how y'all feel about the situation. You know what I'm saying? About Phil Spencer and Sarah Bonds stepping down and leaving, and Matt Booty getting a promotion, stuff like that. The AI lady, I don't even know her name. I don't even care to know her name, to be honest, because she's damn near irrelevant at this point. My focus is more on Matt Booty, because he's covering the gaming division, all 40 studios, and I know it's going to be some change on the rollouts, but long as Game Pass is not affected, even though I know what it is, that's my focus, Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? Again, the hardware was done for anyway. I've been saying that this is going to be the last year for hardware, period. That's why they started touting about the power, and Sarah Bond was coming out there saying that the new Xbox is leaps and bounds. You know what I'm saying? I was already under that impression that they're going out with a big bang with this new console. So hopefully we get it. And hopefully this doesn't affect Game Pass. Long as, like I said, long as I'm getting my IPs and the games that I want to play under that umbrella, they're going to get my money every time, every year. But until then, if they start affecting the first party games not being in Game Pass or doing anything weird in that nature, I'm going to still rock out with Game Pass. I'm still a first class citizen. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting in the presidential seats while y'all niggas in coach bagging for my leftovers. Again, one love and God bless. This your boy Double O. Tune in to State of Gaming. Hopefully tonight, you know what I'm saying, we're going to go live. We're going to talk, go further into it, have more information. All of this is just my opinion right now. So take it with a grain of salt. But like I said, I think I'm on to something, but I find out later if I am, you know what I'm saying. But this your boy Double O. One love and God bless. Y'all be smooth, stay safe out there. Peace. What my outro? I like this one. This one was better than yesterday's video. I'll say that much.